The second beta for update 35 is live, and in this video I'm going to take a look at every change from the first to the second beta build. We have a couple of Burglar changes. Subtle Stab now gives power regardless if you crit or not, so every time you use Subtle Stab you get 8,000 power. Double-Edged Strike and Flashing Blades now have a base AoE target of 5, and the AoE that is being dealt is frontal in front of the Burg. I know on live, Double-Edged Strike and Flashing Blades is kind of wonky in the AoE form, but now it should pretty much act like the Blade Wall for champion, that you hit 5 targets in front of you. Of course, you can trade the Focus Strikes to make it single target and deal a little bit more damage, but the base skill is now AoE 5 targets. I'm just gonna go ahead and try this out on these influenced goblins. Guess I should bring a couple more ads. Alright, have a look. Everything's in front of me. Flashing blades. Beautiful. Yeah, it's a lot more reliable now. We have a few captain changes. Shadow's Lament is now back in Redline. Captain Bleeds got a huge buff. If you look at Cutting Attack and Grave Wound, they now tick every 1 second. Bleed damage in general for Captain also got an increase, so the bleeds are stronger and tick more often. And if you look at Grave Wound, the Grave Wound bleed ticks for 16 seconds and the cooldown is 10 seconds, meaning you can stack 2 bleeds of Grave Wound on the same target. So a really strong buff to the Captain DPS with the buffs to these bleeds. Cutting Attack also now correctly increases the critical damage of every skill. The Cry of Fury, which is your res when you stand alone, will now properly heal regardless of you hitting a target or not. And if you're a captain that's standing alone, you can now be targeted by another captain as their blade brother. Valiant Strike in blue line will heal your fellowship if you don't have a shield brother, but if you have a shield brother, Valiant Strike will instead heal your shield brother. For Guardian, Guardian's Ward now restores power, as you can see, 6,000 power. A few changes to Red Minstrel. Coda of Fury now restores 8,000 power every time you use it. Anthem of Composure's power restore has been improved. And Cry of the Wizard should deal its damage earlier in the animations. I'm just going to test that real quick. This is my Minstrel on live. Let's try out Cry of the Wizards. Pretty late into the animation is when you deal damage. And now let's try on beta. See that it's a bit sooner than live. We have some Rune-Keeper changes from the last beta build. On the last build, Static Surge was actually costing you 2 attunements, so it would take you closer to neutral. This has been reverted, and Static Surge now attunes 1 battle attunement when you use it. Another change is to the frost skills. On the first beta build, they also put you closer to neutral, but in this build, they no longer build nor cost attunement. Writ of Lightning now once again attunes 3 battle attunement every time you use it. The self-motivation heal has been increased by about 60%. If you trade Prelude of Power in blue line, you restore power when you use Prelude of Hope, but you can no longer target someone to heal their power. Instead, using this will just heal the Rune-Keeper's power and no one else's. Scribe a New Ending, which is the Rune-Keeper's cleanse skill, now attunes 2 towards neutral. It used to be 3, but now only takes you 2 closer to neutral. Same change for Shocking Touch. It used to attune 3 towards neutral, now only attunes 2 towards neutral. We have quite a few Warden changes as well. The Persevere healing has been restored to normal values. Celebration of Skill has had its healing increased, exaltation of battle damage and healing has been increased, the boot damage has been reduced, range resounding challenge now correctly does initial damage, Spear of Fate had its damage increased and also gained an extra tick of the bleed. We had quite a big change to how you do your gambit chains. You no longer have to do a 2-length gambit followed by a 3-length and then a 4 or a 5. The way the advanced technique works now, any gambit you perform will build towards advanced technique, and performing 4 gambits will give you 1 tick of advanced technique. But just as before, the Deft Strike, Defensive Strike, or Goad will not build towards advanced techniques. We can take a quick look at this in action. I'm gonna do Unerring Strike, I'm gonna do Mighty Blow, I'm gonna do Purdy of Death, now I'm gonna do Desolation, and that should give me a tier of advanced technique. As you can see, I'm now at tier 1. I just did 4 gambits in a row. It doesn't matter which gambits. So you're no longer bound to building your chains from short to long to get your advanced technique. Any 4 gambits will give you a tick of advanced technique. And one more thing that was added, if you have 3 advanced technique and you use them for a cooldown, you will gain a short defensive buff. So I'm going to go ahead and use for the free peoples, cash out all my thingies. You can see you're getting the advanced defense, 10 seconds, minus 12% incoming damage. As per usual, there was some tuning to the Delvings and the mechanics. For example, the reflect mechanic with the corruptions now only has 2 tiers instead of 3, and the amount of reflect has also been taken down significantly. Another good change in my opinion, we now have less stones to worry about in the delving system. As you can see, the delving zircon now covers tiers 1 to 3, garnet tiers 4 through 6, emerald 7 to 9, and amethyst is 10 to 12. So currently no tier 11 or 12 delvings. I believe this is just because every stone covers 3 tiers. I still think tier 10 will be the highest tier. We also have something pretty cool. We have new weeklies for the delving system. So if you go to Baglan in Andrath, he has 2 new weeklies. One is Delve Deeper. Complete any tier of delvings 15 times in a week. Gives you 250 writs and 1000 virtue XP. The other weekly, complete high tier delvings, so tier 6 and higher, 10 times in a week. Will give you the same reward, 250 delving writs and 1000 virtue XP. It's a nice little way to reduce the grind a bit, and if you're doing delvings, you might as well pick up these weeklies. They seem pretty easy to complete and should help you gain some virtue XP and some more writs. We also have a significant monster play change. An icon has been added above monster players' heads whenever they use a march. If I'm on my warg right now and I pop my march skill, this boot will hover above my head to make it easier for enemies to see when you're marching. And finally, I just wanted to quickly look at the new 3-man, Sant Lhoer, the Poison Gardens. This is my previous video, you can go check it out if you want to see the whole thing. But the first 3-man we got to play was Sant Lhoer, the Poison Gardens. And just scrolling through this real quick, these tentacles can actually pull you out into the water. Let me go back a bit. You can see the pulls happening. You can see it right here. I'm getting pulled by one of these tentacles almost into the water, and here we want to see if the water actually kills you, and yes. If you go into the poisonous water, you get 1 shot. But the instance in the beginning is pretty straightforward. You go straight ahead towards boss 1 across the bridge. Inside this little dome here is the first boss. There's this big creature here, Arka Oka, and there's an Angmarim. On this build there was not a lot of mechanics, and of course this is tier 3. We kind of nuked them. There was tank and spank, not a lot of mechanics, pretty straightforward. Another thing that's in this instance is a deed collecting 5 different plants. You can see the Adder's Tooth is one of them. When I picked it up, I get the Found Deadly Plants 1 out of 5. Collecting all plants gives you a title. I'm just going to skip ahead a bit. More of the same trash pulls till you get to the second boss. Once you get the last plant, sec here, Stricken Bloom was the last plant. You get the title called Horticulturist of the Poison Gardens, and I put it on, as you can see. A nice little new title if you get all the plants. Boss 2 had some ads, and the Grand Cultivator is the main boss. After you kill the ads, then start fighting the Ghynghyn, that's her name, Ghynghyn. And once you take her down a bit, you will go to like a water faucet over there or whatever. And she's actually starting to heal. She has corruptions you need to remove. And once you take away the corruptions, you can then interrupt her heal. And we did this once. And after we take her down a bit more, she went and did it again. This time there were no corruptions, we just simply interrupted it. I do think this fight is still a bit unfinished, and she's probably going to have corruptions every time she goes to heal. And you also have these venom caps that blew up, didn't do too much damage currently. But yeah, it's a 2-boss instance, still a bit unfinished, not that many mechanics, and the loot is still placeholder. It's Sarge-Vorn loot, as you can see. But yeah, it looks great as always, and hopefully they'll add some more mechanics until the release. Thank you for watching. Please consider subscribing to help out the channel, leave a like, join my Discord, and I'll see you in the next one. If you're playing or looking to play Lord of the Rings online, there is one place you need to be. The Ghyniverse! The Ghyniverse is a community Discord server for the game Lord of the Rings Online. In this server, you'll find anything from giveaways. There's also a frequently asked questions channel that I would recommend checking out first. You'll be able to see when I put out new YouTube videos, whenever I stream. You can also ask for the streamer role, and you'll be able to post your own streams in this server for everyone to see. There's currently over 5,000 members in this Discord, and it keeps growing. You will also find discussion channels about the game, LOTRO. You can ask any questions in the help channel. There's discussions for every single class in the game and PvP. But one of the best things about this server is the best in slot items section. In this section you can find trait lines for every single class. You will find screenshots of the current best gear being displayed. In this channel you'll find charts showing what stats you need for your characters, mitigations, mastery crit, finesse, but you'll also find useful information about drop rates in different instances. I hope you will consider joining my server, and maybe one day I'll see you in Middle Earth.